This is Kate Phillips, and we need to talk about money goals. I just posted a couple of hours ago on Facebook. If I do a video on money goals, who wants to see it? And I'm getting a tremendous response. And that makes me super excited because I know if you're here, you have moved from avoiding money, from an avoidance orientation to an approach orientation. And psychologists will tell you that that is a big step towards success. When we are avoiding something, and a lot of people have the ostrich avoidance style when it comes to money, we're in fear of the risk or making a mistake and fear of failure. And when we are approaching something, we're willing to take those risks. We are focusing instead on the outcome and the result that we want, even if that means taking risks and letting go of our current results. So congratulations. I want to give a little more context before I dive into money goals. I want us to go into it with this recognition that it's not the money itself that you're after. You may think it is, but it's really instead what the money can do for you or what you're going to trade the money for. The dollar bills or the $100 bills in your wallet, the digits in your bank account, they don't do anything for you until you trade them for the things that you want. So we always want to be connecting our money goals with the life intentions, with our values, and also looking at what are these money goals going to do for me. And they may give you confidence. They may give you a sense of control when you are in touch with what your money is doing. They may give you the opportunity to be a bigger contribution as well, because money allows you to do whatever you're already doing. More money allows you to do that in a bigger way. So when I say money goals, what comes up first in your mind? And typically everybody's brain jumps to income. Money goals is all about income. And I put these in a certain order so that you will see that income is actually not the best place to start when you're setting money goals. And by the way, with each of these, I would encourage you to not just have a goal, but to have 2 or potentially 3 levels of goals. So you want to have your minimum, your must. I'm going to make this a must. And when you think about the things that we make a must, unless you're just waking up in the morning, you probably have brushed your teeth because that's a must in most people's day. Hopefully everybody's day that happens, pretty early on in your day, you brush your teeth. So what is the toothbrushing absolutely must do this non-negotiable level? And you want that level. And then you want a comfortable level. And you may have 2 levels, you may have 3, but you want maybe a comfortable level and then your ideal level or your moonshot level. And I suggest this because as we're moving towards what we want to move towards, you want to give yourself some easy wins, hopefully, and a sense of, yay, I'm moving in the right direction. So you may say, I want 5 or 7 sources of income. That's not one of the things, but that is a cool thing to set goals on, is how many sources of income do you have? And maybe you have 1 source of income right now, and you'd like 5 by the end of the year. That's awesome. But if you end the year with 2 or with 3, when you've added new sources of income, that's a reason to celebrate. And then you can keep going towards those goals that you set. There's a saying that an expectation unfulfilled becomes a disappointment, but a possibility unfulfilled remains a possibility. So we want to keep in the possibility realm where we're celebrating every win while we're still aiming for those goals that perhaps we haven't met yet. And maybe we've even had them multiple years in a row, which is fine. Keep aiming for those possibilities. So as I mentioned, everybody thinks of income, and I'm going to give you a different place to start here. I'm going to give you 7 types of goals that you can set. And there may be more. As I mentioned, sources of income could be one that you would add. But first of all, start with your goal on savings. Okay, I know savings, maybe it sounds a little boring, but trust me, that's a great place to start. What are you committing to save every month? And this could be a dollar amount or it could be a percentage. Either one will work. And if you have income that fluctuates, if you're self-employed, business owner, sometimes percentages are easier to work with. If your financial situation is more predictable, a dollar amount may work better. And whatever motivates you. So start with saving. And it's a whole different conversation of where to save, but if you're just getting started saving, I would recommend like a high yield savings account. That's kind of a nice, boring place. A great boring place to save money to start when you're just getting started. There's other places and ways to save, but where you don't want to put your savings is your big bank savings account. By big bank, I mean Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase. When you look and see what they are paying, it's like criminal, absolutely criminal. And I've got a savings account at Ally Bank. There's other internet banks and credit unions that pay a lot better. So you may look for a local bank, a credit union, an internet bank. All of those are better places than the big banks, which somehow got away with literally paying nothing, and yet nobody realizes, like 0.05%. It's ridiculous. So saving is number one. Number two, what are you going to invest each month? And again, this could be a dollar amount, it could be a percentage amount. And when I say invest, your brain probably goes to the stock market. That may be where you are investing. It could be other places as well. It could be real estate, it could be commodities, precious metals. It could be in an annuity. You could be saving in a savings account, gathering a lump sum that will be invested somewhere. So I don't just mean the stock market, although I'm inclusive of that as well. But look at how much you want to invest every month and have a minimum must amount. Now, I will give one big exception to this. If you have high interest credit card debt or high interest debt of any kind, and by high interest, I mean, like 8-10% or higher. I'm not typically talking about a mortgage or a car loan, but if you have, although you can get car loans that are high interest. If you have high interest debt, I would recommend putting the money there instead of investing. You still want to start with the savings, and then we want to invest or pay off high interest debt if you have that. Okay, number three goal to set. What do you want to commit to giving? Aha! Giving. What would the world be like if this was the main metric for our money goals? Instead of measuring income, if we were measuring what we were able to give. I have a concept of the six-figure giver. That is one of my goals that I'm working on, is giving six figures. And when I've given six figures, then I'll look at how I can give six figures again and do it faster. Can you give six figures in a decade? Can you give it in a year? To give six figures in a year, think of how all of the other metrics would have to fall into place. You would have a big income in order to do that, for sure. Think of what you are committed to giving. Number 4, spending. Now this comes down to what some people will call a budget. I don't love the word budget because budget reminds me of diets and nobody really likes to diet. But think about your spending plan. I like that a lot better. And this is a place where that level, that minimum must, the comfortable and the ideal moonshot budget come into play. And by the way, with all of these goals, we tend to think that more is always better. And that might not be true with spending. You may be desiring to spend more. You may be desiring to spend less. Whatever aligns with your values, what feels right for you and your situation in life, you don't need to compare yourself with somebody who's like, my goal is to take, private jets to these fancy vacations and my designer clothes. And that's awesome if that is your goal. I'm more of a simple girl. I don't, there's some things that I've decided a long time ago, those things just don't add value to my life. So think about, for you, what is it that improves the quality of your life? What gives you joy? And that may be spending lots of time camping and backpacking in nature. That may be, taking a 4-star, 5-star vacation. Either one is fine, whatever it is that aligns with your values. Now you're ready to think about the income that you want. And too often we set our income goals without spending time thinking about where we want that money to go and how much we want to save and invest and give. But now you're ready to set those income goals. And if you're employed, that's going to be your paycheck. If you're a business, we want to think about your profit. So it's going to be your gross profit, your income, subtract your expenses. And then number 6 is another place that when we think about money goals, people will automatically think about your net worth. And your net worth is simply your assets subtract your liabilities. And it's a snapshot in time. It's not going to change that much, moment to moment. You're not looking at the bills that are coming in and going out. When I say your liabilities, really your debt. So what are your assets, your home, your car, your 401k, your brokerage, your real estate investments, your other investments that you might have, subtract your debt, the liabilities. If you have a $20,000 car and a $10,000 car loan, then your car will add $10,000 to your net worth. You may or may not be a fan. I'm a little mixed on Dave Ramsey, but he's got a great online, super simple online calculator that walks you through it, and I will put a link in the description for that so you can use that. And if you've got another resource, let me know. I'm not promoting Dave Ramsey, although he's really great helping people get out of debt. So I will give him that. Not a big fan of his investment advice necessarily, but hey, I'll give credit where it is due. Lastly, what I'd like to say, a couple things. One is schedule the time to do it. Sometimes just doing it is the hardest part. The other thing I wanted to say is when we approach the money goals, whether you're meeting them, whether you're not meeting them, we want to have this attitude of either I win or I learn. And we also want to have the attitude that we don't always know what's best. And so we're going for these goals. These goals give us a direction to go in. But I have had times when it looked like something was moving backwards, but actually it turned out to be a step in the right direction because it redirected me. One of those times was when one of my goals was to buy a home. I eventually bought this townhome, but on the way to this townhome, I put an offer in on another one in a completely different area of the state. It was a new construction townhome. It was gorgeous. And the offer was accepted, and we did the inspection and the appraisal, and then the deal fell apart at the last moment for a crazy reason. I did everything I could to try to save it. I was brokenhearted for about a day. And then I realized that I really didn't love the location of that townhome. And if there's one thing you can never change about a property, that would be the location. So that sent me on a new journey that led me here. I know I am way happier living here than if I would have bought that townhome. There's another, I've seen this happen to myself as well as other people, when you have a job or a source of income that ends, or that for some reason you find necessary to leave that job. it is really an opportunity in disguise. Even though your income may be going backwards, sometimes these things that feel like, oh my gosh, this feels threatening, I'm going backwards. How can we look at those things as opportunities? So I will leave you with that. If you got here from Facebook, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. If you found me here on YouTube and you want to follow me over on Facebook, I've got a Total Wealth Creators group over there, and I post a lot on my personal profile, which you can find at facebook.com/the Kate Phillips. The Kate Phillips, accept no substitutes. Remember, you are powerful, you are prosperous, and you are free. Have an awesome rest of your day.